Hi, everybody. It's getting later and later every day, isn't it? It's almost 1 o'clock, but it can't be helped because there's so much going on. 1,744. What was it? Um, let me, let me look. See exactly. I just put it up, but um, yeah, 1,743 days. And let's make sure my sound is working. Testing. Let's see. See if everything's working. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Everything's working. Okay, everyone. This is, over 20,000 hours for our family that we have investigated what happened to our son, Richard Halliday, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier that was murdered in the line of duty on Fort Bliss. And the CID, Provost Marshal, Lieutenant General Donna Martin allowed that that we wouldn't be contacted. No contact with the family. We had to contact them. She allowed that delay. She allowed the delay of any investigation while Richard's remains were literally disintegrating there on Fort Bliss. And, because this is cartel tied, a criminal network that was criminally trafficking in the military. These are military leadership. She's absolutely complicit with this military cartel tied criminal trafficking. And it's because the evidence absolutely confirms it. And Nidal Baem confirms it. Palestinian arms dealer that said that Richard had been murdered. This is in October 2020, and that his remains, partial remains, were being looked for in Juarez, Mexico. They found him, and he's dead. And he's dead. And shh, and keep that quiet. Keep that quiet. That's a secret. That's a secret. And he has ties to Bradford Bugado, Lieutenant Colonel in the 32nd ADCOM in G3, which are like the wedding planners. They know everything, their operations. And they, when we asked who this man was, they said it was a nobody. They protected him. They covered it up. And because of our investigation, and one day I'll give a talk about how we found out who he was, and we called him up. I think it was a shocker for them that we found out who he was, because that was in 2020 when people wore masks, right? Wasn't too easy. So it took months, but we did it. And he is a huge player, just like Jonathan Ambrose, the West Pointer that was in 143 ADA, that is married to Danae Katzen, the credit card con artist, who is related to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, another con artist of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. The victims funds were absolutely not distributed correctly. And she was divorced in 2001 from the victim that you see. And I can't really show the pictures, and It gets so late, and to set up all this, to do the pictures. I used to do it, but the pictures are very, very sensitive because they show the remains of Alexander Gerhard Hofmann-Roth, who is a German national, and that is clearly, and there's another picture that we have, um, from the victims in the parking lot. So, and we count 4 victims in the parking lot. So if you know something, and please let us know, because we're trying to get to the truth here. Because the same individuals, like Danae Katzen, remember Danae Katzen? As soon as we got there in El Paso, it wasn't 2 days later, she contacted us, and gave us a false narrative, to mislead us, to redirect us. And of course, no one told us that she's um, very connected to KTSM, where she brought us, where she gave a false narrative, where they ran the false narrative, absolutely knowing who she was. And she was very at home in that studio. That's how I know she knows. And there were very bad players that were around us to cover this up for the military, for the cartel. She's the cartel tied. I mean, they're all cartel tied, which now we know through the hearings, the recent hearings, that those cartels are have strings to the CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party. Um, so this is where this criminal trafficking gets very, very, very serious. I mean, it's always serious, right? Because you have so many suffering there in Chihuahua, Mexico, and in our country, in our country. And of course, to find out that we have traitors that are committing treason in our military, like General Kelly, like General Mealy, like General McConville, like General um, Bernabe, of course, with his assistant, Kyla Cardona, that is connected to Leilani Hart. Um, the connections are all there, the evidence is all there. And of course, with the provost marshal who had control over the guard mount, and what happened. I've reported on it early on, but I'll tell you again. With Anthony Swafford, he was a military police, and early on, he let us know that Richard, really, what he essentially, that the guard mount was smearing Richard, smearing him. I mean, uh, meaning tampering with the investigation, obstructing the investigation. When you try to smear someone, that means you don't want them to be found, right? You don't want anyone to pay attention. You don't want anyone to look into it. And this is really why they do some of these narratives, like with the Walmart mass shooting, are so volatile, right? Like the white supremacist false narrative, that's an absolute false narrative. The racist is absolutely a false narrative. Not because I said so. I didn't say so. Joe Spencer said so. Um, all the family are Mayelas, the family are intertwined with the Hispanic community. They're related to the Hispanic community. They have a diverse family. The Crucius Mayela family is very diverse. And Patrick Crucius, Patsy, has absolute ties in El Paso. He surrendered twice, and he surrendered and even hugged, right? Sam Medrano allowed this farce. He surrendered to a Hispanic. He even had no problem hugging a Hispanic. He even said it in the hearing. He has severe autism. Um, he has severe mental health conditions. And, but we don't know all the facts because they never ordered, even though they're bound by the law to do so in Texas when someone has severe mental health conditions, to have an independent competency hearing by an outside judge, an independent judge, not San Madrano, right? Not David Guadarrama, but an outside judge to give him a competency hearing and let us know what his mental health is like, and that. But this, so that's this the false narrative. And I've had people that have the squiggly eyes. They just want that false narrative so bad, but it's not there, y'all. It's just not there. So was he there? He was there. He did surrender. um did he confess? He confessed to Joe Spencer that he couldn't fathom what happened, couldn't fathom killing more than one or two people. So that means he confessed to killing one or two people. Okay, well, 45 well, 23 were killed and 22 were injured. So, that's a little bit different. That's a little, so who helped him? And we know that he had no experience. We know that he did not have good motor skills. We know that he didn't have more than 30 rounds on him. One 30-round clip on him. We know, that he only had, because of his two times that he got in the car and went and surrendered himself, and they turned him away, and then he drove down the road, and then he came back, he made a U-turn and came back, surrendered himself at 11:06. So so you have the shooting that started outside at 10:39, outside in the parking lot, and then you have all the timings of where he traveled. He only had um, at the most 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, so 120 seconds, so 2 minutes to do this evil deed, and this bloody evil deed. Okay, and that is with 30 rounds. It's and then with all of the witness testimony that I read yesterday, and there's more than that, there's even more than that in the forensics. um he There were so many reports of multiple shooters, but then the video came out that I released, and it was like, wow, that that shook you up, right? And then another video we released to show you that the first video had been tampered with, had been edited. Okay, um, edited to edit out the police. The police were edited out to edit out the man saying at the very beginning to the police, there's one person there laying in blood. Okay, one person. Well, you have 45 injured. I mean, 23 dead, 22 injured. Uh, what the video does not show that. The video does not show that at all. And you watch it over and over, and you're like, where are the other victims? Where is the chaos from that? The mother walking out with her daughter, closing her daughter's eyes because of Alexander laying there on the floor with, half his head, half his head. Um, and of course, she doesn't want her daughter seeing that. I mean, I would, with, all, if there was so much danger, I mean, they were just walking, right? They were just walking. And when you watch the video, and please watch it and tell me what you think. Um, Let me see, who is this? So, what I've got from what you have typed is that Joe Spencer was and is working for the cartel people. Well, absolutely, he's cartel tied. Absolutely. The evidence shows it. He did not defend Patrick Crucius. He did not. I mean, Patrick Crucius failed kindergarten, couldn't tie his shoes. It His brother-in-law is Michael Mayella. His brother-in-law is Michael G. Mayella, working in the Walmart cybersecurity. His brother-in-law is working in the DA's office at the same time as the Walmart shooting with Jaime Esparza, with James Montoya as a cybersecurity technician and a trained hacker. His brother-in-law is working in the FBI El Paso field office. And Joe Spencer doesn't mention this. The Joe Spencer makes a backroom deal with Judge Sam Madrano without telling Yvonne Rosales, District Attorney Yvonne Rosales, that they are going to give jurisdiction to the federal judge, to the federal case. That's so illegal. And Judge Guadarrama's managed by Michael Mayella's father, Michael F. Mayella. And they're planning a wedding with Crucius's brother. And not only that, they've created an open checkbook. Think about this. Think about this, and I'm so glad, Matthew, that you're on. Um, think about this. The shooting happened on August 3rd, 2019. That was a Saturday. Sunday morning at 5:42 a.m., the application for appointed counsel for Pat C, he signed it Pat C, which is, and I've put up that application for everyone where where it is on there that he has zero income and zero expenditures, but yet he has a car. He can drive all the way from San Antonio, where he was living, or Dallas, where they say that he drove from. He has money for ammunition. He has money to go and buy an orange before he goes in the second time to do his dirty deed. He has money for gas. He has money. He has money to buy his very clean clothes. His clean clothes stayed very clean. He has money for his computer. He has money for his Wi-Fi. Yet on that application for appointed counsel, it's 0000. And what that did at 5:42 a.m. on a Sunday morning, the judge approved it, which gave them an open checkbook. That means that taxpayers, you and me, because even federal taxpayers had to pay for this. So everyone had to pay for this, millions and millions of dollars, an open checkbook that Joe Spencer said, if I get on this case, I told Sam Madrano, Judge Sam Madrano, my golfing buddy that I golf with all the time, and Judge David Guadarrama, David Campos Guadarrama, that I was not going to do it for nickels and dimes. I want an open checkbook, so to speak. I want an open checkbook. I want to be the appointed defense counselor for an open checkbook that the taxpayers will have to pay without seeing where the money's going, without seeing any evidence, without knowing that the Mayellas are, the family members of Patrick Crucius, without knowing that he has severe autism, that he was pounding his head, during his school days when he failed kindergarten and was in special ed, that he was pounding his head on the sidewalk when he was 3 years old, that he and yet the money, where did it go? I hope it did not go to Lorraine Mayella for the mental health evaluation, because that's what she does. And was she given a contract to help the victims of the Walmart mass shooting that uh, son-in-law, her son-in-law, was the defendant in the case, the shooter, the quote unquote shooter in the case? I mean, think about that. And Joe Spencer kept this all, and he was just living the high life with this open checkbook saying, I need $1 million for this, a couple million for this, $1 million for this, $1 million for, and no trial. Just at the end of the day, just a plea deal, and not even a mental health evaluation. Not, come on. And then he goes, oh, well, we did a mental health. Well, who did the mental health? And who, because by law, it needs to be a hearing, it needs to be by an independent judge. And this is a big case. You have 23 people that have been killed and 22 injured, and the whole town upside down having to pay all these taxes for years and years and years and years. What is it? Almost 7 years. And the same people that are in Richard's case are committing fraud against the Walmart victims' funds and targeting Richard, being in possession of Richard's credit cards, targeting our family, misleading our investigation, and her husband, that's part of the Walmart mass shooting case, is then in 143 ADA. Richard was in 143 ADA. So, and then you have her tied to Leilani Hart, who are targeting whistleblowers, targeting those that are reporting things, intimidating witnesses, connected to Kyla Cardona, who says, yes, the general, Lieutenant General Sean Cardona Bernabe says, absolutely, we don't want another Vanessa Guillen situation. What do you mean you don't want another Vanessa Guillen situation? Because Richard was dismembered, because Richard was murdered. And we have that in the line of duty now by the DOD, by the DOD. But he didn't want that to get out. Why not? Because it would get out then that Richard was a whistleblower, and he was whistleblowing on the criminal trafficking, this weapons, these ammunition, because Nidal Baem was a Palestinian arms dealer with Western Frontier Trading, with connections to Fort Bliss, his son-in-law being in 32nd ADCOM, which 143 falls under 32nd AAMDC, and he's in G3 operations. I mean, it's very, very clear that these two cases are intertwined. And so, why did they do the Walmart mass shooting? Why did they do it? Because it was absolutely not only Patrick Crucius, but multiple shooters. And what the heck is going on in the Walmart? Because here we have the unedited version, and you're going in, and I can't play it for you because there is Alexander Hofmann with half his head. And I have to be the one looking at that and reporting it. Our family has to be the one reporting it to everybody. That where is everybody else? It is as Pico Pello in there. Besides Alexander, it's Pico Pello. And you can say, oh, they're down this aisle, down there. But you have people that are walking around, walking over the remains of Alexander. They are, where is all the shell casings? Where are the shell casings? Where are the boxes that have been dropped, because Ernest Christopher Grant said he was throwing sodas at Patrick, right? At the shooter. What is going on here? Something is stinky, y'all. It is so stinky. Where are the victim? Where, we see the baby, right? We see the baby. Who is this guy? because clearly he is not the same guy that's in the picture with uh, the weird timestamp, the weird timestamp that I posted up. This has been so tampered with, and it is a fraud. It is a fraud, and it's a con job, and con job people are behind this. And why? Because in 2019, and if you look at the executive orders that President Trump was doing at the time, and don't tell me you have Trump derangement syndrome, okay? Put that aside right now. I can't change it that in 2019 President Trump was the president. Donald Trump was the president in 2019. I can't change that. Okay? And he was issuing executive orders. He was issuing executive orders. And those executive orders were hitting the cartel where they didn't want to be hit. Just like right now. Hitting, trying to close the border. Well, that's not a good that's not good for a criminal trafficking syndicate, is it? That's not good. And then to be audited because when you have $90 billion a year in criminal trafficking profits, you have to launder that money. You have to launder that money through LLCs, through real estate, whatever. You have to launder that money. And so when you're getting audited and you have unexplained wealth, well, then, and you're an official, then you're going to be scrutinized. And that's what was happening in 2019. They were auditing. Who did we found that out by now Major General. He needs to be taken out of his uniform. He needs to be stripped of the uniform. Those are our uniforms. Those are our stars. That is our benefits, our beautiful housing, our he gets someone to drive him around, everything. That's all ours. It's our military. It's not his. And they're treating the military like it's theirs, and that our soldiers are expendable, that our service members are expendable, that our sons and daughters are expendable, that they can use our fuel, they can use the vehicles, they can use the planes, they can use all the equipment, they can use the personnel, they can use the intelligence, that they can use it to do their criminal trafficking syndicate cartel tied business. That's what was going on. Clearly. And look, we've put 20,000 hours plus into this. We're in almost 5 years into this. We have absolutely mountains of evidence. And I'm not someone to come on here and make those kind of accusations because look, that can be defamatory. That could be, that could get me in a lot of trouble. But I'm not willing to let them do that to my son. I'm not willing to let them do that to my military. I'm not willing to let them do that to my country, to El Pasoans. I'm not willing to let them do this to my neighbors in Chihuahua, where I went over there probably 36 times and I saw them suffering. And they were crying on me because I wasn't wearing the doggone mask. I didn't care about it. I didn't care about it. I wanted to see the people and I wanted the people to see me. That's how our family felt. And to look at this video now, almost 5 years later, and to see the tampering when they've absolutely tampered, and we have that absolutely confirmed by Kyla Cardona, the assistant, that the general ordered the tampering of our son's case. And we absolutely know that because Judge Roger Rodriguez in January of 2022 called us and said, you know what? My name is Judge Roger Rodriguez, and I am a whistleblower in your son's case. I submitted a report identifying the prime suspects in your son's murder, in your son's investigation. They were tampering with your son's file. And one of them is a CID agent, Tavita Nusa. The other is Leilani Hart. And Leilani Hart is the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart. And he told me that in January of 2022. You think I got a call from Donna Martin or her replacement? Do you think? And she was IG. She became the IG of the Army. She was provost marshal, then became the IG of the Army. She absolutely needs to be held accountable to the fullest for her treason. For her treason. She's a traitor. She committed treason. And the same thing with Sean Bernabe. He absolutely needs to be held to the fullest account. Same thing with Michael Garrett, the 4-star general, and McConville, James McConville, and Mealy, and Kelly. They are absolute traitors. Traitors to the world, to our country, but to the world. And you look at this video, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm, the first time you look at it, you're so, you're so emotional because you see Alexander there, right? And I can't show you that. But you see him there, and it's terrible. But then you look down the aisle, and it's Pico Pello. It's super clean. You got people walking around. They're not afraid. They're not even afraid. And the police are there, and the police are telling people to go home. They're not even securing the area. They're not securing the door. They're not patting people down. They're not making them sit down and give statements. You've got the McDonald's is right there. Go to the Silla Vista Walmart. Take some pictures and send them to me, please. Please go to Silla Vista Walmart and take some pictures and ask them what has been renovated. Because I have word that even in the concrete outside where Memo Garcia was shot, and he later died months later, that's evidence is still there. But please go and take some pictures, because you walk in that door and right to your left is what? McDonald's. There's tons of people in that McDonald's. You don't have the man outside. Play that video. The man outside is saying, there is one man laying in blood. He's not saying, oh my gosh, go in the McDonald's. People have been shot. People have been shot. A lot of people have been shot. He's not saying that at all. He's saying one man was shot and is laying in his blood. That's what he said. There's a man right there. And there's this other man there that is told to go home, and he's like, I'm not going home. My wife's in there. Where's my wife? I want my wife. I'm not leaving. Hell with Walmart. I'm staying here. Y'all, it is that video. And then you look down the aisle, and that's where the groceries were. That's where Ernest Christopher Grant is said to have been, next to Johnson. I think Johnson was supposed to be in that area. Where is he? I don't see any panic. There's no panic. There's no other reports. The guy taking pictures of the remains of Alexander, he's not going to the cashier. There's supposed to be 2 people, victims, at the cashier area. I don't see it. But that's what was reported in the news. I've been trying to scan the news. Where were these people gunned down? And there were supposed to be 2 at the cashier. I don't see them. And no one is, saying, oh, yeah, there's 2 over here. And then all of a sudden, the man, this strange man, comes with the baby. So there you have it. You have 2 in there. And he's coming from like the bathroom area, right? The bathroom area. So is that where the parents were, you know, in the bathroom area? I'd really like to know. And I think that all of El Paso needs to know. And I think all of Juarez needs to know because they had victims. And I think Germany needs to know because Alexander was a German national and he was executed, y'all. He was targeted and executed. And what? You have somebody that is committing huge fraud and is absolutely cartel tied and with Danae Katzen, and which is connected to 143 ADA with her husband, Jonathan Caleb Ambrice. And she's trying to collect on her divorced husband's death. She didn't try, she did it. She did it. And she's targeting my son. She's targeting our family. I mean, these are the worst type of people. They have no love in their heart. Their heart is as stone, as stone. And her ex husband, the father of her children, is laying there and she doesn't want to get to the truth. And this is another thing where, they were all sitting there. Ernest Christopher Grant with his angel, the whatever lady, CBP lady, Donna Sifford, and then you had Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, all ready to pounce on the civil case. Well, I haven't seen anything about the civil case. Where are the victims' families right now speaking up? Where are they? What the heck is going on? And where is the civil case? Because even the man outside the Walmart said, I'm going to sue Walmart. Now, if this was not the answer to what happened to my son, if this was not intertwined with my son's case, why would our investigation lead to this? To Bradford Bugado, to Nidal Baem, to Kyla Cardona, to Leilani Hart, to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, to Danae Katzen, to Jonathan Caleb Ambrice, to Bradford Bugado, to Mendenhall, to the generals, right? Why would it lead to this? And where is Veronica Escobar in all of this? And where is it? Where is the outrage? The legal outrage for Sam Medrano to make backroom deals for Joe Spencer to have the open checkbook, to go and play golf, and to go to the galas, and to raise funds. And then where did these funds go? And for El Paso Community Foundation to not be transparent, or to run El Paso Matters, which runs false stories in the El Paso Walmart case, false stories on Richard, my son's case. Absolutely false stories, violating their 501c3. And they don't mention the Mayelas. They don't mention Nidal Baem. They don't mention Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who has a criminal history. Leilani Hart has a criminal history that is so big that goes back before Richard was even born. And they're entrapping our soldiers with all of their nonsense and filming it to compromise them so that they can't be whistleblowers. I mean, this was to divert attention from the audits, from the investigations, and they absolutely then, because of Beto O'Rourke, and Danae Katzen was with Beto O'Rourke. Texas Heart was singing for Black Lives Matter for Beto O'Rourke. And he's the brother of Dallas Hart, the prime suspect in the murder case of our son. The so this is not a coincidence, y'all. The connections are all there. The evidence is all there. The evidence confirms this. And we were interfered with. Our son was smeared, and he's totally a hero and uncompromised and a whistleblower. Totally a hero, y'all. And that's not how all this started, is it? They just wanted to smear him. They allowed the worst type of violations of everything that's good in this world. And they need to be held accountable. And where are the victims' families to say, because Alexander, he was targeted, y'all. He was targeted and executed. And the lady that was out in the parking lot, she was absolutely targeted. And you don't do headshots when you're like a Patsy. Sorry. And you only have 30 rounds, and you only have under 2 minutes, and you don't even go into the McDonald's. There's no chaos. It just doesn't fit. Nothing fits. And so I can make these assumptions, but I'm giving you the video. You can see it for yourself. You don't need to see Alexander's remains. And I loaded up some pictures, and you can decide for yourself. But El Paso is worth fighting for. Our country is worth fighting for. And what do I mean? To have justice, to have accountability. Because there is no peace without accountability. There is no peace without restitution, which is accountability. And even for the spirits of those that were taken, I don't know how y'all believe, but how are they at peace when there's no accountability? How are the family members at peace when there's no accountability? And to see Patrick Crusius, who was absolutely railroaded and, alone Pat C, and I'm not saying he wasn't there, and I'm not saying he didn't do a dirty job. I'm saying that he didn't act alone. And the Mayellas were planning going to a gala, planning wedding, planning whatever kind of showers, and they were married in 2021. And and we're going through living hell, and they know what happened to my son. And and they absolutely are connected to the Walmart mass shooting. They are absolutely responsible. His own family is responsible. And, they're walking around. They're walking around El Paso, ready to pounce again because money flows through their fingers so fast. They're irresponsible. And they're ready to pounce again. And for our family, we are not willing to let them get away with this. No. Nope. Praying. Thank you so much. Thank you. My son is amazing. Yeah, yep. Thank you, Anicia, for your prayers and your love. And thank you. And we're going to keep presenting the evidence, keep identifying the crime, keep documenting it, and keep filing it. And God's timing is perfect. I wanted to say that yesterday was Michael the Archangel Day, which is very important in our house. And of course, May is um, Mother Mary of God, Mary, the Mother of God, a month. Um, Spend time with the Magnificat. It is absolutely so strong, so strong. And of course, it's Mother's Day this Sunday. And I just want to let everyone know we're fighting for all the mothers, for all the mothers, for everything that is good, like what's declared in the Magnificat. And we have absolutely angels behind us. And they're not just angels, they're like Michael the archangel, these angels of power and might, sword, and so these evil people don't have a chance. They just don't have a chance. Um, so we are absolutely grateful for your prayers and all your support. Thank you so much, and please share. Sharing is very, very important. Thank you.